I'm Sona Kim, America's face of dating, and today we have a very unique email from a high status member of Team SK, and he wants to know how to make this first date that he's about to go with the girl of his dreams a success. Basically to get a second date and a third date and really whatever he wants to come, he wants to know how to do that. And so we're going to go through his email, but first really a little summary of the email is that he messed up with this girl. Basically, he was simping, he was over pursuing, she went away. He went and worked on himself. He went and read my book, I believe he said, and he really applied the things from my book back here, Waking the Core of Man, to his lifestyle that made her, and it made her reach out and come back to him. And so let's just jump right into the email. So he says, "Hey Selna, I read your book and it certainly has given me a handful of valuable lessons." I know, man. It's a really great book, man. For those of you that have not read it, you can go on my website and get a free preview of a couple chapters from it that has very, very valuable content in it for absolutely free, okay? And also, if you're in the AMP installment, you can actually get it for free and actually read the free PDF in the AMP installment. So I highly recommend that you jump into either of those or both of them at the same time if you really want to do what this guy's doing here. He says, "By the way, I also like anime, and when I saw all of your anime references in your book, it made me fucking happy," he says with a smiley face. "I have a question regarding this particular girl, which I had a crush on a year ago. We met once with a bunch of other friends and had a great time, so I started texting her every day, wanted to go on a date with her, etc. I made a bunch of mistakes, then she rejected me, and I accepted it and moved on." Well, you know, it's like I talk about in my book, is that when you act in your masculine frame, it tends to attract women towards you because a lot of men are in their feminine. They're very, very pushover. They let women and let people walk all over them. They don't know how to make a decision for themselves. They don't know how to stand up for themselves and be a man, have a fucking spine, right? And when you're telling me here that we met a bunch of other friends, had a great time, or you said, where is it here? It says, I made a bunch of mistakes. You said that he was texting her every single day, wanted to go on a date with her. So it's like when you're women. So let me teach you a little lesson about man and women. Masculine and feminine energy is that men, they're about drive, they're about mission, they're about accomplishing, they're about putting their flag at the top of the mountain. Women, on the other hand, they're about bonding, connecting, spending time with you, looking into each other's eyes, right? Caring, like I said. And so women are also about pursuing. And so when the man is pursuing the woman, then she gets turned off because women, they're in their feminine. They feel most attracted to a guy when they are naturally feeling that they are chasing him, like they have like they want him, they want to tie him down, but they can't. Why do you think that women love romance novels? Because the guy's a mystery. The women cannot figure out what his next moves are going to be, how he feels about her. And that's why women get so fucking wet when they're chasing the man, when they are pursuing the man. And so when the man is chasing her, it takes away all of the mystery for her. It takes away all of the anticipation for her, and it turns her off essentially, like this guy talks about, and she walks away, right? So he said he made a bunch of mistakes, and he said he just moved on basically because he was like, okay, well I fucked up, gotta go move on. He said, I started doing my own thing, and sometimes we write each other through Snapchat, replying to our snap once in a while, and this goes on for a year. But when I read your book and overly started to invest more in enhancing my game, I used some of the texting techniques also with her just for training and out of boredom when she replied to my snaps. So basically what he was saying here was that he was using some of the techniques from my book or probably in my AMP installment and applying them to the messages with her just to see what would happen. And so let's see what happens here. He says she was living 1.5 hours away, like driving from his city, and she snapped him last week that she is going to my city and would like to know if he would like to go on a date with her. So that's what happens when you apply the shit I talk about in my book. Like people have been, if you've been following me for months and you still haven't read that book, I'm just like, well, come on, man. Like, why? Like I said, like I know people try to sell you their bullshit, right? They try to sell you just to get a quick buck. But I'm telling you, I spent 2 years on this fucking book right here. Right here, I spent 2 fucking years on this book. Literally 2 years and $10,000 of my own fucking money to make sure that this is at top peak performance. So that you read this shit and you really fucking understand it. Like, I made sure that this is like a chip It's like literally a chip you insert into your brain and you have it for life. Like, this is not the normal book that you would read. And it's like, I get people that doubt me every single day. They're like, I don't want to read a fucking book, man. Like, that's a couple hundred pages, bro. Like, I'm not trying to read that shit. Bro, just read the book and you will be hooked. I fucking pinky swear to you, okay? And so he says, so I said, why not, and agreed. Of course you fucking agreed, bro. Why would you not agree to that date? You've been talking about, you sent me a whole email about this girl. Of course you're going to agree to that. You know, you're acting like, oh, like, whatever, man. Like, why not? Like, I guess I'll go. You were excited. Don't fucking lie to me. So he says, okay, I finally like to have some tips from you on how to make a really good impression on her to make her want to go on another date with me. Because as I mentioned, she is not living close by, so it's not easy to meet up with her. I would really appreciate it, and I feel something good from this girl, and I want to experience a relationship with her. And also, do you think long-distance relationships is worth it? So let's answer your first question here. Well, I'm going to answer the date tips at the very end, but first I wanted to address something you said. I feel something good with this girl, and I want to experience a relationship with her, okay? Wrong. Do not have that mindset. If you have the mindset, I want to tie this girl down to a relationship, you will never get a second date with her, okay? And here's why. It's because when you tell yourself, I want to get this girl into a relationship on your first fucking date, that scares every single woman off, right? It's because you are basically showing her all of your cards. You're going to be over pursuing without even knowing it because you're subconsciously telling yourself, I want to be in a relationship with this girl. How do I be in a relationship with this girl? Relationships take time to develop. It takes time for her to fall in love with a man. Men fall in love through their eyes. Women through their fucking ears, right? And so men tend to fall way faster for women than women tend to fall for men. That's just how it fucking works. Okay, so when you're on a date with her and you're like, I fucking want this girl in a relationship with me, blah, 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 you're going to be supplicating to her, seeking her validation, and you're not going to be injecting the things into the conversation that is going to trigger real obsession. And what I'm trying to say here is that one of the first date tips is that if you want to get a second date, is that people constantly ask me, how do I make this girl obsessed with me, right? And they think that they have to say something or do something on the date that's going to cause that. And that is kind of true, but that's like 20% of it. Women, and especially for women who are watching this channel who want to make a man obsessed with them, if you want to make somebody obsessed with you, it doesn't happen on the date. It happens when you're away from them, right? Think of a muscle. Do you build muscle when you go to work out at a gym? When you're pumping out that iron, do you build muscle in the gym? No, you don't build muscle in the gym. You're actually breaking down muscle in the gym. The recovery that builds muscle happens at home, happens in your sleep, happens when you're eating the food that's going to properly recover your muscles to grow bigger. And it's the same with obsession. If you want to make somebody obsessed with you, then you want to set up on the date correctly, do all the right things on the date that are going to make her think about you outside of the date, because that's where obsession grows, when she's talking about it with her friends, when she's like, do you guys think he likes me? Like, he hasn't texted me. Like, should I go with him again? Like, that's where her attraction for you is growing. That's where her obsession for you is growing, right? It doesn't happen on the date. It barely happens on the date. You can only set up on the date to make it happen later. That is fucking critical. And so he also asked, do you think a long distance relationship is worth it? It just depends. It depends on the girl. It depends on you. Are you financially able to do that? Because it's very fucking expensive. All the gas you're going to be doing, all the plane tickets you're going to be doing, are you financially doing it? Is the person worth it? That's the real fucking question. Are you going to go 6 months into the relationship and be like, I don't really feel this anymore, right? Or are you just horny and you want to get your dick wet one time? Be fucking real with me. I'm being real as I possibly can with you, so at least you can be real is with yourself, right? Are you really ready for this? Is this something you really want? It totally depends on you and the other person. Right? You have to really analyze yourself and be like, okay, like, you know, I feel attracted to her. My dick's probably hard thinking about her. But don't make a whole fucking decision based on your fucking hard cock, right? You gotta think with your head. And so, you know, those are my tips to really make that date successful. It's like, you want to set up on the date, say the right things during the date, open her up, make her talk to you, ask her questions, make her feel good, because you want her on the first date really to do 80% of the talking. If you're talking the whole time, you know, women, they love to talk to you. They love to open up to a man. Like, that is part of feminine energy, that they want to open up to you. And so you want to ask very, very good questions and create a connection with this woman that is going to make her obsessed with you in the future. When she's sitting there thinking at home, she's like, man, I really had a great time with him. I should probably hit him up. That's what you want her thinking after the date, right? So you want to make her talk about the things that are going to make her feel warm to you, that are going to make her feel connected to you, make her talk about happy memories, what some of her best memories are, her best favorite food places are, you know, what her family's like, what her friends are like. Let's see, if she believes in paranormal activity, if she believes in aliens, if she believes in ghosts, that kind of thing, you know, like talk about that shit. A lot of people talk about that shit, believe it or not, right? You want her to open up to you on the date. And so those are my tips. I'm Sona Kim, America's face of dating, and I will see you next time.